I want to bring this all to close with one final story. It was about a woman named Rani Hingorani. Really interesting story that was written about in Time magazine last September. And it was really the ultimate Backable story because Rani grew up in a poor village in India with no running water and no electricity. But she did something remarkable. She taught herself how to read. And the first book that she read from cover to cover was the biography of Henry Ford. And after reading this book, she just became so enamored that she decided that one day she was going to become an engineer at Ford Motor Company. And her parents got behind the vision. They saved every penny they had to get her to America, to get her an education. And so she was ready to finally apply for her dream job. But there was one massive problem. This was the 1960s. And Ford Motor Company had thousands of engineers, but not a single one of them was female. And so when she finally got an interview with the hiring manager, he looked at her and he said, we don't have any women engineers. And this truly was her Alexander Fleming moment. She could have gotten up and walked out of the room and abandoned her idea altogether. But instead, she took a deep breath, she pushed her resume off to the side, and she told her story. From reading that biography on Henry Ford, to the dreams that she had as a child, to the journey that she had taken to get here. And it was in that meeting, in that moment, that this hiring manager decided to take a bet on Rani Hingorani. Not because of her resume, and not because of the numbers, but because she was backable. Because she understood their central character in a way that nobody else really could, because she grew up without a car. And she knew what an automobile could bring to somebody's life. Because she had put herself inside the story in a way that nobody else really could. And because he could be a part of that story. That together, they could co-author a massive, important change for Ford Motor Company and for the industry at large. And that is why on August 7th, 1967, Rani Hingorani became Ford Motor Company's first female engineer. And I love that story, not just because it changed things for her, but because it changed things for women everywhere. And it changed things for my family, because you see, Rani Hingorani is my mom. Her name's Rani Gupta now. And here we are celebrating her 30th anniversary at Ford Motor Company. And I got to tell you, Mom really inspired us. I wouldn't be writing the book I'm writing right now. I wouldn't be here talking to you if it weren't for her, because she inspired us to really believe in our ideas. When my first 2 startups failed, she was the one who inspired me to go out there and try again. And when my brother Sanjay had an idea that maybe a doctor could be on television reporting the news, it was my mom who inspired him to put himself out there, even though he had no on-air experience and no journalism experience. And when Sanjay got himself in the room with the folks at CNN, he put them inside the mindset of his central character, the patient. And because he was a practicing neurosurgeon, he put himself inside the story in a way that very, very few people had. And because he had no on-air experience, they saw him as a blank slate, someone they could co-author the story of how medicine and media come together. And that is why today, Dr. Sanjay Gupta is one of CNN's longest-standing and most backable brands. So I want to leave you today with one final takeaway, one final call to action. We all know someone who's working on a new idea that hasn't quite become backable yet. That could be someone raising a new fund, starting a new company, proposing a new project. It could be a colleague, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, or maybe that person is you. I'd like you to consider sharing with them the simple framework that we learned today. because it's amazing what one note, one nudge like that can do. You could be truly giving someone the confidence they need to keep running with an idea that can make a huge difference in the world. And you could be giving them the fuel that they need, or the fuel that you need, to one day become backable. Thank you so much.